Blue Gold game at Notre Dame took place on Saturday afternoon, and there's a lot to discuss from this contest. So we have Jack Sobel, who is inside Notre Dame Stadium, to break it down. And Jack, I think we got to start with the quarterbacks. I'm definitely not talking about the final score because I don't know what the heck it was. CJ Carr, 14 and 19, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenny Minchey, 6 of 14, 106 yards. Had the rushing score and backflip. And Steve Angeli, 8 of 11, 108 yards and a touchdown. So what did you see of these quarterbacks today, Jack? And then, what did Marcus Freeman have to say about them in the postgame press conference?
Yeah, I thought CJ Carr was most impressive today. I think most would agree with that. Particularly, we talked about this after the game, Mike. In the first part of the scrimmage, when the first team defense was going out, or at least the remnants of the healthy remnants of the first team defense that Notre Dame has at the moment. He dropped a couple. The two best throws of the day, I think, clearly were from Carr. Two dimes dropped basically over the head of Adon Schuler, who's one of the better young safeties in college football. One to Kevin Bauman and one to Jack Larson. Those were the biggest wow throws of the day. I thought Carr commanded the pocket very well, and he made obviously some accurate throws. We know he can do that. I think most would agree he's got high ceiling in the quarterback room. But he also threw an interception on a ball that I think that was his fault. I think he should not have thrown it. Marcus Freeman said I think Marcus Freeman wants to look at the tape before hitting that on Carr, but I thought it was a play where Ben Minnick, who was playing nickel, thought he played pretty well in the scrimmage. Was blanketing sophomore wide receiver Logan Saldate, and it was a play where Carr forced the ball into an area he probably shouldn't have. I thought Kenny Minchey, while the completion percentage isn't great, he flashed a little bit. He had a layered throw to walk on tight end Henry Garrity, I believe, over the linebackers and in between and in front of the safeties. He kind of whipped a sidearm passage to Ron Payne, which I thought was good. He also obviously had the rushing touchdown, and Jelly showed some things too. Might not have been as flashy, but he had the touchdown pass. I thought he didn't make any real mistakes, although it is worth noting that most of his production came against a few walk-ons in the secondary. So I would say like the angle I had after the game was like Carr was the most impressive, but I think this competition is far from over. The Freeman said, "What you think? Would you think he say? It reflects the other 11 practices. Notre Dame has 3 talented quarterbacks that they believe in, and he thought they all showed some good things, which I agreed with. The notable thing Freeman said though was that Notre Dame would like to get the competition down to 2 quarterbacks by fall camp, which is something that Tim Hyde and I talked about in our last show. That it's probably a good idea for Notre Dame to get to 2 just because there aren't that many reps to go around. And he said, they're going to have some conversations and make whatever decision is best for the program. So if that's keeping all 3, if that's cutting it down to 2, we don't know. Honestly, I don't. If you're going to cut it down to 2 quarterbacks, I don't know which one would be the odd man out. So Notre Dame's going to have some tough decisions coming up.
Yeah, to spend a second on that, Jack, I feel like we would both agree it's not going to be Carr. There's
Yeah.
just no way in hell CJ Carr is going to be the odd man out if they go to 2. And it's a conversation of it's Angeli or Minchey, and I don't know if there's a clear cut answer. Jack, I think it's kind of a preference thing. Do you want that experience of Angeli, or do you want it to be Minchey? And if you're Angeli, man, I don't have much eligibility left. I got 2 more years. I don't think Steve is really going to be thrilled about a situation where, like, man, am I not the guy going into fall camp? Like, I think Steve. I mean, they all want to be QB1, but Steve definitely, is kind of, hey, it's my time or it's never going to be here going into August.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts, Jack?
Yeah, it's a difficult decision both for the team and for the players. Like everything we're hearing out of spring practice is like they're all even, but Minchie's made some headway in how he's perceived. Like I think both you and I, Mike, I think we've said this like before spring practice. We would have thought it's probably going to come down to Angeli and Carr, but I think we're both more open to the possibility that Minchie could win this thing than we were before. I mean, he makes plays with his legs, he makes plays with his arm. He's just a playmaker, and I think he's really showed something this spring. So honestly, I don't know. I don't envy Marcus Freeman right now. And Mike Denbrock and Gino Gaduli in the decision they have to make.
Yeah, good choices, but it's not like there's a no brainer decision to make here. Yeah, Minchie can scare you at times, both good and bad.
Yes, correct.
So that's just one of those things. Who else stood out? I thought there's a lot of good freshman play. I thought all the 2025 freshman wide receivers looked good. Luke Talich led the team with 9 tackles. I'll pull that up real quick as well. The next Next up with tackles is 5. So Talich definitely led there. Carson Hobbs definitely made some good plays. Who else stood out to you?
Yeah, a couple of the guys you mentioned. I had defensive observations, which will be on blueandgold.com sometime in the next couple hours. Kind of going front to back, I thought Jared Dawson really stood out in the defensive line. I thought he was constantly in the backfield. He was constantly causing havoc. I can see, like, my a big takeaway I had from Dawson was, like, I can see why his game fits better if you're giving him 25 to 35 snaps a game and not 50 something, because he plays with a ton of energy. Like, when his motor is on, he's just a wrecking ball out there. But he's a bigger dude, and I don't know if he can keep that energy up for 50 snaps a game. But I think he's going to help Notre Dame a lot up front this year. I thought he was so disruptive. He got into the backfield. He made plays for others. Kingston Viliamalasa had a tackle for like a loss of 4 or 5, and that was created by the havoc Dawson created. I thought he was really good. Viliamalasa made a couple of plays. I thought he crashed the line of scrimmage well. In the secondary, obviously Talich, the back-to-back goal line stops. One of them, the first one, by the way, was created in large part by Viliamalasa, kind of getting under the shoulder pads of Sullivan Absher and creating like a stopping point for the running back where Talich could clean it up in a violent fashion. He really hit well. He might have missed it. I think Jadarian Price juked him in the hole one time, juked Talich, but I mean that's going to happen to the best of defensive backs and linebackers. I thought Talich was good, and obviously the numbers say leads the team by far with 9 tackles. He was good. Carson Hobbs was really stood out. He was someone I was really interested to watch just because he's been playing a lot of corner and nickel, and we figured correctly that Devontae Smith, Christian Gray, and Leonard Moore would not play a ton, which I think they all got a series, and that was pretty much it. But I thought Hobbs was constantly around the football, and usually for good reason. He had that pass breakup on a deep Minchie throw to I think it was KK Smith. It was a deep post that I think Minchie threw pretty well. Minchie had a couple of incompletions that I thought were well thrown balls, just good
Sure.
coverage or didn't catch a break. It was a good pass breakup by Hobbs. The wow rep, the probably the biggest wow rep I had in the press box was Carson Hobbs coming up to make a violent, ferocious tackle on a like a second and long screen pass to Kedron Young, who's a big burly running back, and he made him look not that. He also had I think a big hit on Cam Williams to jar the ball loose and force an incompletion. Hobbs was someone I was really curious to see because like he's one of the faster dudes on the team. I think certainly he thinks he's a confident dude. Uh, he has the kind of same fluid movement skills that we always saw with Jaden Mickey, but I think he's a more physical player than Mickey was. So I'm excited to see how he develops moving forward.
They wear the same number, and just seeing him in the slot, I was like, oh man, like he did feel like similar to the Jaden Mickey playing style, and they definitely both have that same confidence.
Yeah.
Folks, that's some spring game takeaways. Please hit the thumbs up on this video. Go to blueandgold.com for much more coverage from Jack Sobel and the guys at blueandgold.com. Appreciate you for watching, and as always, we will catch you next time.